I actually just read that that they are formulating. The Biden White House is formulating changing its policy that you have to be vaccinated to go to the U.S. And so that means people from the banned countries can come if they're vaccinated, and people from the not banned countries can't come if they're unvaccinated. So I don't know when that'll actually
wait.
come
What?
into effect. They're going to switch it. Like now, it's like anyone can come in as long as you're not from you can't come from Europe without a visa to the U.S. right now.
Yeah. Okay.
But they're switching it so you can if you're vaccinated. But people from even if they have a visa from, I don't know, what's the place that's not Argentina? They're not on any list. You have to be vaccinated, I think, starting when they introduce this new thing.
Okay.
Just sharing information with you. I mean, Luna can't come to the US. It affects me.
It's just all. The thing that then's really stupid with that is that you can't get into the US or Europe without a Western vaccine.
Oh yeah.
So if you get the Sputnik vaccine, which works perfectly fine,
or the Chinese one,
or the Chinese vaccine, was it
Sinovac? But I think the Sputnik one's good. Like, isn't it as good as the quote unquote good ones?
Yeah, Sputnik is on a whole other level of good. 91.6% efficacy, bro. Don't even.
You're listening to the Sputnik infomercial. For the next 27 minutes, we'll be telling you.
You're listening to Radio Tehran, brought to you by Sputnik V. I found out that it's actually Sputnik V.
Yeah, why V? Is it like the first four blew up or what? You mix the two. You mix the two beakers together, and a big cloud. The scientist's face, the doctor's, whoever they are, face is all black.
Yeah, but then his eye is just like blink, like bleep, bleep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, V for vaccine.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, it's not that exciting, I know.
Sputnik V for Vendetta.
Yeah, they were giving out like trips to Russia to go get the Sputnik vaccine, which would have been sick if it actually meant that you could travel other places.
I've never been to Russia. You've never been either, I assume?
No, but you know what?
It'd be a good time.
Things can change, and maybe I can get maybe I can collect all the vaccines and get my trip to Moscow.
That would be a fun, because there's bloggers who are like, oh, I'm going to every single country in the world. You should try to, I don't think anyone's tried to get every single vaccine yet.
No, yeah, they haven't. I'm going to be that person.
You could do it, right? If you just show up. Yeah,
bro, I swear I'm not vaccinated.
No, like, okay, so you could get vaccinated again in the US. Just be like, yeah, I didn't get it. Can you give me one? And then they would.
What would happen, though, if I just keep getting vaccinated?
I don't think anything. I think dude, it's good for you. You'll keep getting more antibodies.
Bro, like, oh, God, imagine the type of, like, you know those stoners who are like, oh, bro, it comes from nature. Like, it's fine for you, bro. Completely oblivious to the fact of all the shit in nature that will just murder you.
Dude,
you know?
Yeah, vaccines come from nature, dude. They're healthy.
Yeah, bro. These are made in a lab, bro. Scientists made these. They can't be bad for you, bro.
The mRNA ones are not, but the protein ones, that's from nature, bro.
Bro, when has a scientist ever made anything that killed anyone?
Wait. This character's taking a turn. I feel like most stoner guys are a little skeptical, but
most
maybe
stoner guys are very skeptical of science.
Maybe this one is taking a turn.
Yeah. Bro, name one scientist who ever invented anything evil.
Or they think pot is like an alien substance. Like, no, everything on Earth kills you.
Oh, that's the best one. That's the best fucking
aliens
one. Aliens
left Kush behind when they built the pyramids.
Yeah. Oh God. I miss stoners.
You're gonna chew 'em up while you're in Phoenix? You're gonna see any stoners?
I don't have any stoner friends here.
You can't chew 'em? It's illegal there, I assume.
What? No, Arizona, it's not illegal.
It's fully legal?
Perfectly legal.
Ooh.
Perfectly legal, yeah.
Ooh,
I could
dude,
go.
You gotta check it out. Where's the closest store? I'm gonna look it up right now.
I don't fucking know.
Weed, dude, you gotta go. They're sick. Weed dispenser. You get all sorts of gummies.
Have you been?
Yes. I did not go inside because the line was long, so I waited in the car.
Oh yeah.
But it's a great time. It's so easy to get I like the gummies, and you can.
I made a point that I'm not gonna.
Dude,
I'm
there are
not gonna
tons
do
in
any
Phoenix,
of that in
dude.
the U.S.
You got tons of options.
I know that I do. I'm just saying is that I don't want to in the U.S. because as us being a pro mids podcast, I would be breaking the corner Späti line, and be a revisionist, which is bullshit. And two, I don't want like the smallest amount of weed to murder me.
That's efficiency though. You just need a little bit.
I don't like it.
You get one of gummies and you just like chop it up. You just cut it into like, you just slice off a piece like it's
I feel
prosciutto.
that that's too much. I feel that that's like if I have to fucking crush a gummy the same way that you do a fucking pill.
You want to grate the gummy like it's Parmesan.
Like it's a fine Italian cheese.
Yeah, it's fine. Dude, the Kush, don't they make it all out there in like California? I don't know about Arizona, but it's
I don't
local,
fucking know.
dude.
I don't care. All I know is that then like my cousin once posted a thing that he went on Valentine's Day with his girlfriend to go like their Valentine's meal at the end of it had like 150 milligrams of THC in it.
Okay.
Which sounds like pure fucking hell.
I mean, if he's posting about it, I guess
that
it was
is
a
the
good
equivalent of the gummy bear being grated like a fine Italian cheese.
The 150 milligram reminds me of like the people who do the like hot sauce competitions where it's just like, this is the most THC
exactly. Like
I've ever.
What's
that has to be a thing,
level?
right? Because it can't kill you, right? Like I don't know how much THC
No,
it
it
takes
can't
to
kill you.
So
I mean,
why not take like 10 grams of THC?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, anyway,
I'll lead
us in.
We interrupt this program to talk about the climate crisis.
Yeah,
we interrupt your stoner podcast to talk about the climate crisis. Greece is on fire.
Interrupt your chiefing.
Did communists start it?
Yeah.
Here's more from our President Erdogan.
Yeah. Hey. Welcome to your weekly corner Späti. I don't know what our alliance is called, Rob, but it's just you and me. It's just the American hour.
Yeah.
Cue Living in America. Cue that song.
We're zooming.
We're
smoking weed right now. I know it's an audio podcast, but we are literally got multiple blunts.
Yeah, in rotation.
We're passing them through the computer screen, man.
Yeah, it's wild. But
yeah, we have we just got a few topics today. Stuff going on in the news. Is there anything you actually want to say about the wildfires going on?
Yeah, they're bad.
Yeah, like at the very least, I feel like we're supposed to be like a current events podcast or whatever, and like especially this summer, there's been a lot of fucking bad climate stuff. Probably will just be more and more every summer. I feel like we should at least mention it. It's going on. If someone's listening back in a few years,
how many ecological disasters have we had in like the last few weeks? We had the floods in Germany. We've had a bunch of Greece had like 91 wildfires start in one day.
And I mean, in the US, I don't know if Phoenix was hit, but like in the Pacific Northwest and in Canada, there was like crazy just heat waves. And apparently it's the Gulf Stream's fault. The Gulf Stream's all fucked up.
I believe that, yeah.
So like whatever regulates it's all out of whack. So then sometimes you'll get tons of rain or sometimes you'll get tons of heat. And it's not going to get fixed anytime soon. So.
Oh yeah, no. And I think that then the thing that's the most frustrating about this, cause we talked about, you guys talked about the floods like briefly in
because
Germany,
it's not much to say, especially if you're like talking about like I know there's things you can do, but like the scope of it as like a philosophical political problem, like nothing on our in our mainstream electoral political diet it comes anywhere close to like acknowledging the changes that are underway. And so, what the fuck can we say about it?
I guess
here?
I would disagree because, like, one of the cities that was affected by the floods in Germany is suing their local government for very obvious lack of preparation for things that they knew were going to happen. So I think it's in the sense, because remember there was that really dumb Deutsche Welle article that was like, oh, we can't blame, like the CDU's like, international propaganda ministry, like writing out to the rest of the world being like, you can't blame the politicians for something they didn't know. And it's like, they fucking did know the entire time. And that Germany doesn't have like any measurements in place to combat this shit, nor do they care. The thing in like Greece and Turkey that's like kind of similar with that is that it's the exact same thing of that. Yes, I obviously will acknowledge that it isn't just like an overnight thing of just like, it isn't just because Neo-Democratia is in power, but the amount of money that like they said that they were going to invest for like, climate change shit and whatnot that just got like redirected into buying like police cars is like, what do you expect from like these like far right wing parties? Like,
no, you're right.
Mitsotakis only cares about climate change when then he can like suck off VW to like sell off the power grid of Greece to the Germans, which is like what they're doing. You know,
I can't help but feel that this thing. So Portugal's a good example because they're having a lot of wildfires, and under the like, relatively more liberal left government, they actually like took a bunch of steps to like prevent the worst of the wildfires, and they haven't. I mean, so far, that's kind of my whole point. There haven't been that level of wildfires, but like that's like a go-to point until it's not anymore, and you can absolutely do things to minimize it. And it definitely seems like Mitsotakis, and I'm sure in Turkey they're going the other direction. But
well, the thing about it with at least Greece is that they had like. Greece had like this like forestation sort of like thing that they were going to invest in, which also was like preventative measures because like wildfires happen every year in Greece, just around this time of the year. That's just a part of, part of the climate. And, there is like being from a place also that too is like, I mean, like Arizona is quite dry. There's at least like one big, like decent sized wildfire a year. They happen, like, they suck, but normally they're contained to a degree. Where these ones that then are happening, especially just north of Athens, are just getting so out of control that they're like they've already engulfed a lot of the northern suburbs of Athens and are spreading. And the thing is that there was like 30 million euros that were supposed to go to these projects, 3 of which actually then went to that, and then the rest of that money was allocated for a bunch of other dumb bullshit. So anything that isn't a public-private partnership, Mitsotakis doesn't care about, So he will make the avenues for then investors to come in and sell, like I said, sell off, Greek infrastructure. But his party doesn't. His party is full of climate deniers, but that doesn't matter at the sense if you can then like make money off the sense of a PPP. And the shit with Erdogan that's even like weirder is that like. The amount of like the money that then's being invested into like climate programs is non-existent because that's obviously money that then's not going to help them get out of the current economic recession that they're in. But so Erdogan will like be European when he wants to and not be European when he doesn't want to. So he just like begged the EU to like give them like helicopters because they don't have things to fight fires in Turkey. So the EU sent like the firefighting helicopters and like planes and shit like that. But simultaneously, Erdogan has enough money to, have planes and helicopters go, bomb Iraq currently. It's such a fucking farce with him. And then there's that video of Erdogan throwing tea out of a bus.
I didn't see that. What was he throwing it at someone? Or just like
no, he was like doing like relief, which is just him throwing out boxes of tea, just like zooming past people. It's insane. And then Erdogan's also blamed the fires in Turkey for like on the PKK.
Yeah. So, well, that's that's a good a response as any blame.
Yeah. Conservative governments will not in any way save you from something that they don't even acknowledge.
Yeah,
because you can invest. I mean, like Greece and Turkey are the two perfect examples because the entire Twitter sphere is just them arguing, just like, well, it's also happening here too. It's like, yeah, that's the fucking point. First off, like, even in natural disasters, they have to fucking one up each other that they were the first ones to fucking do it or some bullshit like that. And the thing that's even funnier is that these two idiotic countries have been investing in so much in national defense bullshit and like nothing in things that could maybe lessen the climate catastrophe that then they're very clearly already being affected by. So again, on this podcast, I only endorse a future where both Mitsotakis and Erdogan may join each other in some other life, but not this one.
That's a little bit of a depressing topic. So why don't we turn to the fact that this Belarusian guy was found dead in Ukraine?
Yeah, I'm a doomer today. Yeah,
there's not that. I mean, I don't have that much to say about it. Just we talked a lot about Belarus before. I never know what to call these people. He was an activist.
Weekly Belarusian update on Corner Späti.
He was an activist involved with Vitaly Shishov was his name. He was involved with people getting out of the country, and he was found hung from a tree. Yeah, don't know what to say about that. And of course, at the Olympics, kind of somewhat, I don't know, big news was a sprinter also. There was kind of some, I don't know, weird stuff going on with like forcing her
in Poland.
Yeah, and she's just claimed asylum in Poland. I believe just flew there today. So I don't know anything on the Belarus front. You think is anything going on here?
What am I like
you're the Belarus correspondent.
Post game analysis of I think Lukashenko's playing a hard game.
Well, apparently he's into sports, is what I read from one of these fucking websites.
Yeah, of course he is.
And so, maybe
he's into really weird sports though too. I mean, he's into hockey. I know that for a fact. But then I think he's really into I don't know. I remember reading that somewhere as well though.
So maybe once the maybe the athletes will really get to him when all of the, because I think a couple other athletes were talking about also, leaving the country, and maybe that'll get to him. Who knows? I mean, other than the fact that they just murdering a bunch of people who opponents of the regime.
The thing about Belarus that I think is always so hard to pinpoint about this is that they're really the thing. So I have to preface this with the fact that then Belarus is legitimately Lukashenko's an idiot. He is a bad leader. I'm not sitting here being oh, this is all just an op. Belarus is beautiful. And my flatmate's from Belarus and is legitimately afraid of going home currently at the moment. And she's not politically active and shit. It's just it's not a vibe.
Yeah.
And the thing that's so just shitty about this is that it's very clear in the sense of this is all being injected into this current regime change narrative, because Tishanovskaya is doing her world tour. She was just recently in the US. She was in the UK. She was in Germany. She's obviously has been stationed in Lithuania. And I am curious of how then this is gonna play out then in the end of the day with then how these athletes are going to end up obviously going to be endorsing Tishanovskaya and shit. And I just I guess my only thing is I have a bit of skepticism of the sense of why okay, the Olympics is actually a pretty normal place that then people do this isn't the first time that it's happened. There have been athlete dissidents who have just dipped before. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, it really is the sense of how this all plays into the grander scheme of that. It's very clear that the U.S. wants to make a person who is also not an elected leader the head of Belarus.
I mean, it just seems to me not very not particularly insightful person on the matter. It seems like some change is getting closer.
Yeah, exactly.
How it's going to happen, I don't know.
I have no idea either.
Whatever
really
happens,
is the sense
in that if the main factors are, yeah, the Financial Times writing about a sprinter leaving, the outcome is going to be worse than like a mass uprising causing the change, which is what was the primary threat before. But who knows what'll happen? I mean, all those forces are still in place, so.
Yeah. I mean, it really is. I guess it's just the sense of that. I think Tishanovskaya's like lack thereof support is like too obvious still. Like that's why she's doing her world tour. And Belarus probably will end up in the same vein as like Ukraine, of like that it'll be the hot topic for a bit and then will just be forgotten. I don't think that Belarus has as much of a like, I mean, because we have to think about this in the sense too of that then how strategic is Belarus for the West and for like Europe and NATO and shit like that. I would say just as strategically important as Ukraine is, and look at where they are now. They can't join NATO, so
Yeah.
I don't know. This is the thing that like comes down to it, is that like while the situation in Belarus is bad, it does come into the sense of how they do play out in this chessboard that is the people who make the decisions for foreign policy, primarily, which is, either in their case, Russia or the United States. It also depends which day of the week it is, Sometimes Lukashenko and Putin are friends. Sometimes Lukashenko and Putin are enemies, Yeah, I don't know. Like, it sucks, all of it. I hate like looking at stuff about Belarus because it's all like, it's all just like shit, Yeah, Lukashenko, garbage authoritarian leader, this and that, and then Tishanovskaya, like an actual U.S. CIA op, like very clearly so.
All right, let's turn to slightly from the the local intrigue of Belarus to a, well, if your last point's to be taken at the same level, this international maybe shift or realignment or attempt to set the stage for what's coming next. So you're in the U.S., where there's been a lot of talk about the moratorium on evictions lapsing, but then not lapsing. And here in Europe, in France, Macron, I mean, we just alluded to it, but there have been mass protests against the laws that Macron was passing. And in Germany, just this past week, the health ministry is now kind of like put forward like its plan for like what's the next step after COVID. At the same time, across Europe and especially in the US, Delta variant, the cases are going up again because of the Delta variant. There's all these questions of how much are vaccinated people actually protected. Basically, there's like a huge moment right now where all these countries are basically trying to pivot away from coronavirus. Of course, everyone wants to get rid of that, but specifically all of the benefits, the state intervention that was necessary to keep things afloat. And a lot of these countries are like, okay, well, we're going to wean you back off of this now. I don't know where you want to start in all of that.
Yeah, I think it's like the first and foremost thing of that, because I think that the conversation that you and I had about this started with the sense a while ago, actually, where Germany was kind of toying with the idea to make people pay for their corona tests in October, if they're not vaccinated.
So that was part of that's part of the health ministry like guidelines, like the next steps, and that's part of a plan to be like, yeah, you can't rely on these free tests to like, I want to go to the movie theater, I'll just get a free test and show I'm negative. You have to be vaccinated, is the idea. Yeah, and I think it's two birds with one stone, because then they don't have to pay for all these free tests for people.
Exactly, yeah. And I think that then the same thing is that it's also very optimistic of Germany, who I think is currently at like 52% full vaccination, which is, fine, up there with the rest of them. Genuinely surprised after how horribly slow the vaccine rollout in Germany was. that they're expecting then on the 85% herd immunity at that time as well, which is like the goal for that, like for the third quarter of this year. So
Seems optimistic.
it seems incredibly optimistic, especially
I mean, what
because
the U.S.
now
is like
just-
kind of, what's the U.S. at now? Like,
same
like
thing.
60%?
It's like at 50 point something. No,
Yeah,
no,
and they
it's slower than
started
Germany's.
like at least a month or months earlier. And it's like, so how, what is the ceiling on this stuff? And that's, I guess, the question
Yeah.
with, I think France and the health pass law is trying to basically like force people to get vaccinated if you want to, participate.
Greece has
in
one
a
as well
bunch of
that they
things.
did.
Yeah, in society.
Yeah,
and
Italy
it does
is
seem like
doing the health
France,
pass as well.
like it might work in the sense that more people might get vaccinated. At least those are the first
Yeah.
signs out of France. But I mean,
I think I need to be
85% is
clear
still-
first off in the sense of everyone on our podcast is vaccinated. I think that the evidence is pretty fucking clear that the vaccine, no matter which one you get, like ridiculously reduces your chance of either getting it or if you do get it, like having a serious case. I think that then this needs to be like more taken into consideration with the way, because I mean, like, we have to realize that then that people like freaking out about COVID because they see countries that aren't vaccinating at high rates doing stuff. Australia being one of them, where Australia sealed their borders. Australia's at 15% fully vaccinated. Australia didn't get like vaccines like a Western nation did, even though they like kind of are one. And then China being the big one of while China has distributed out over 1 billion doses, they only have 22% of their population fully vaccinated. So China is possibly threatening of going back into lockdown in certain areas, which is smart for them because they understand how their health system works, of like how easily it could get overloaded. Look at countries like Pakistan. I mean, like the global south is fucked because of COVID. Like, especially because of Delta variant. India as well, So I think that then in the sense of looping this back then around of the thing that most people then are obviously then concerned of is that like, well, are we going to end up in the what now 4th, 5th lockdown or some shit like that? And with like the horribly racist and colonial way that the West has distributed vaccines, which like the WHO critiqued them heavily for, of like saying that, global vaccination rates are like incredibly low while vaccination rates in Western countries are like reaching their goals pretty quickly, is, obviously not okay. I think that in this sense, like the perspective of already looking then towards post corona for a Western country isn't ridiculous, like the sense of like getting back to normal for a Western economy right now is like a feasible thing because there's probably not going to be a 5th lockdown in Germany or in a Western country. Corona deaths are drastically reducing over the last few months. And what does that then mean for then, like, this is the thing I think is really interesting with like neoliberals, is because they want this globalized economy, but they also want all the aspects of the racism, imperialism, stuff like that, so that they're doing well, And so that then like, if and when, which it will, like economic out, like, economic fallout comes from what has happened in the corona crisis, like how is it then going to extend outwards then globally? While Germany may not be as affected, Germany's like scared of like 3% inflation or whatever, which is like nothing compared to what's going to happen to the economy of, something in the global south,
But will they have any effect on Germany? Like,
yeah, I mean, it will. Like, we'll have it'll be like, okay, did 2008 have that much of effect on Germany?
I
Like,
don't know.
as much as it did, say, Greece or Italy?
Okay.
It
Yeah,
did. It
yeah.
obviously did. But Germany, because of its very, because Germany has their economic system of Europe kind of like as a buffer, like keeping themselves continuously safe of France and Germany, they typically end up on unscathed. And the economic crisis of 2008 benefited Germany heavily. Same thing as we're going to probably see within the Corona crisis, of that the fallout economically, domestically within Germany will benefit it already did benefit people in the economy anyway. Like the German economy is like has slowed down its growth or whatever, but at the same time too, like there's been like more wealth created in Germany or in all of Europe for that matter during the Corona crisis. You know what I mean? Like the increase of wealth creation and also the increase of wealth disparity that happened like globally happened just as much in Germany as it did in other European countries, you know? So I think it's unfair to necessarily look at it in the sense of like Germany, will Germany be hit by an economic crisis? Yeah, probably, in the sense of how it would affect Germany. How will this affect the rest of the world? Will be significantly worse than how it'll affect Germany or the United. Like the US will probably be worse off than Germany from whatever, you know, stuff is to follow.
So,
you know,
so one of the big, like, I don't know, aspects of this shift that's going on is these countries are saying we have to, like, the COVID recession. I mean, it was a weird recession, right? In the sense that it was like, what? I mean,
people stopped their economies for a few months. Yeah. I mean, it's the thing of like, I think a good historical example of it is maybe like, okay, it's kind of weird because it's a little bit backwards, but nonetheless of like, World War II is one that then a lot of people like to look at, of like, look at how great we did when the U.S. like nationalized its economy. And then when it broke off from a nationalized economy that was like hyper producing goods that nobody needed after war, the U.S. had like a massive, like could have been like faced with much higher inflation than they did in the 50s and 60s, you know? So it's like, it's similar in a sense too, is that then like you stall your economy for like one thing, you know, and then when you kick it back into gear, the realities then of a market economy are then going to hit it much harder than if you just kind of like kept things going, which you can't keep things going because you have an emergency, you know, like market economies are like, the way that market economies exist is under like the preconceived notion that they will always exist, you know, that they will exist without interruptions. This is why liberal economics is so fucking stupid, because they live in a fantasy world where like there's no inhibitor to the economy, you know?
So one of the big things in like Germany, for example, or even France, is they have to like pivot to like to like, it's like they're slingshotting, like they can't bottom out. They're going to just kind of like use the force to like, you know, sling themselves up into a new growth phase. And the key apparently is to invest in these new sectors that are like growth sectors. So whether that's, you know, tech or the environment or energy. I mean, isn't that kind of what the US did with like, you know, building like weapons manufacturing?
Tesla is one of those.
True. I was thinking about it after World War II, but like, how feasible is all of this is my question. Like, is that going to work without being like very painful? Okay, well, why not?
Well, I mean, because it's the thing is that then the way, I mean, I think Germany's the best example for this because it is like, I hate to use the word cronyism because it is just what capitalism is, but like Germany is very much a country where like everyone in politics is best friends with some motherfucker in like business, you know? Yeah. And that is like the same in every other capitalist economy, don't get me wrong. But Germany's is like way more like in your face about it, I feel. Like we saw with the sense of like CDU politicians making money off of, you know, COVID mask scandal things.
Yeah. I think we've tried to emphasize that on this show, like that how much the CDU is like, you know, we're just a mainstay, you know, Western political party, and it's like the like
and because they're that way, they have like stuff. Literally like Italian level corruption.
Yeah.
Like, I like this is the thing is that then so if you only care about growth, which is what Western capitalist economies do, investment at anything is growth. It can fail. You can invest in like name anything that fucking comes on your it can be completely just a waste of time and money. You can throw at it and say that then like that goes to your GDP growth. You know, how many sketchy ass dumb startups are going to get just grants thrown to them post Corona. You know, things
you can
that
work
are
from home now after
nuisances.
Corona. It's all, it's encouraging this new kind of tech lifestyle.
Yeah, exactly. Like the thing, I mean, like, this is the thing too, is that because we're just in this era of hyper financialization and, living in a city that then is experiencing one of the odder versions of this where it can't really exist the way that it does in other places. I mean, Berlin, not Phoenix. But like, that's what you're going to see. So you're even seeing it right now that governments, like local governments, are trying to throw money at like tech startups and anything that then has the word green in front of it. One of the best examples of this is now the green project. Electric cars are one of the big ones, e-vehicles and whatnot. Whether or not they're actually better for the environment, okay, yeah, like they don't run off of petroleum, gas, whatever the hell it's called. But they're also like not very long term. You're still promoting the sense of personal vehicle,
right,
in favor of the sense of, because it is good, simply in the sense of that it is good for VW and BMW and German auto manufacturers. And the real step then towards like projects that then have like public infrastructure, so like trains, whatnot, stuff like that, of actual transitional goals that would bring economic growth, which economic growth is always going to exist, no matter if you live in like capitalism or socialism. Like the idea of it being profit-driven growth is, I think, the thing you have to like differentiate it with. Like, you want your economy to grow and provide for everyone and to make things then accessible. This doesn't mean oversupply of things, So I think I need to like clarify the sense of like, you would want your economy to grow even in a sense of like trying to reach a post-capitalist goal, because then what would then massive infrastructure projects be if not economic growth? What would then transitional projects be? But they're not being done in that sense. They're not being done through a state-led institution. They're just being done of contracts being sent out to then more or less money launder half the time, or just have money wasted, So, yeah. So I think that we're going to see just the same shit that we've been seeing too, of the wealthier people who can then get these contracts getting wealthier. I doubt there'll be any job creation. It's like, I guess we have to look at this on local levels too, like with Berlin, that there will be a massive push, what there already is this massive push currently right now of Berlin, tech city. There's even like the fucking tech republic out where Tegel used to be, These are all bullshit. I mean, there's the Trash Future did an episode about gorillas, of that then like gorillas does not provide any new technology. They don't make technology. They are simply a platform, as these all are platform for you to buy your groceries. You could call up gorillas and do the exact same thing as you do on your phone. There's nothing new. There's just a new middleman, which is your phone, that then does this. So yeah, it's all scams. It's all going to benefit, a certain person or certain type of person who it always has benefited. And yeah, we're going to end up, when this somehow breaks, when it somehow does all start collapsing, probably from, influenced heavily by the over speculation in cryptocurrencies. Like, when it does collapse, like the recession or depression that we're going to be in is going to be catastrophic.
Well, Germany apparently is now like firms that couldn't pay their bills. Like now they can declare bankruptcy again. And like debt repayment basically is going to like start coming back. And so, I mean, aren't there a bunch of companies that are like losers that can't, like losers in the sense that if Gorillas was a winner in the Corona economy, that just, that those people are just going to be unemployed. They'll have to find a new job with, I don't know, green drones or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, is that not, especially in the sense of Germany just being like the part, like the country that exists only for German business to do well. Like Germany is going to have its like stint of being, like indebting itself slightly, and then its main goal, as the CDU has said multiple times, is to get back to the Schwarze Null. So, I mean, good luck. Good luck investing in any good social program where you will not let yourself properly invest in these things because you believe in economics that are 100 years old. Like, the CDU believes in the same economics as Rand Paul. All right? I'm surprised the CDU doesn't demand to go back to the gold fucking standard sometimes.
Germany's going to get back to the Schwarze Null in the same way that Leonardo DiCaprio is going to get back to the fort in The Revenant.
Yeah. By any means necessary.
Yeah, anything else
clearly.
to say? Yeah.
No. I mean, I know that then I like diverged, but it's like I don't know how to answer that question because like the corona thing isn't, I think, so much the thing that bothers me. It's more the sense of that the way that then that this recovery is going to be done is going to be this stupid way that you can already like imagine it being, of that like we're going to hand out free money to businesses that seem good, tax breaks for buying a fucking electric car. There's going to be no sense of having to like realize the way that then that we go about the world is probably going to actually have to change because of either the climate or because of, the economic situation that we're in. Like everyone wants to go back to business as usual, which is going to end up with like the third economic crisis in our lifetime. Like it's cool. I'm down, third time's the charm, right?
They're calling it the Great Reset. So at least it's forward thinking. When you reset the game, you can play again. You have no you have no gold. You're back down to 3 hearts.
You can go for that fourth economic crash if you're just if you play your cards right. Yeah. I don't know. I'm genuinely more concerned with the fact that how we live just in a period of just hyper over financialization of like, why is a fucking app where you can talk to your to people that you don't know valued at over $1 billion overnight?
Yeah. Well, this has all been
dumb.
A dark look into the current news, but I have something that I think will cheer us up.
You got a tasty treat?
Well, that's up to you. But my question for you, Nick, is do you know what the Havana syndrome is?
I'm aware of it. I think I got it right now, but
you're getting someone left a microwave on and you're just feeling like your eyes are popping out of your head.
Yeah. My tummy always hurts a little bit, so I feel like I'm just, constantly a victim of Havana syndrome.
Yeah. Honestly, dog, I could have gone pro if it weren't for Havana syndrome.
I'm waiting for Havana syndrome to become like Lyme disease. Lyme disease.
Lyme disease,
yeah. That you,
I'm going to add it to my collection. So Havana syndrome is just this like vague, like I have a list of some of the symptoms here, but it's like people get like headaches and like almost like a migraine and like kind of this confusion, and they don't really know where like this kind of like pain is coming from. So the symptoms listed here are strange grating noises, headache, hearing loss, memory loss, and nausea. Now,
nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
These motherfuckers just need some Pepto-Bismol. Now, the reason it's called the Havana syndrome is because these symptoms were experienced by U.S. and Canadian embassy staff in Cuba starting in late 2016. And apparently has also been experienced by U.S. diplomats in China.
I love how this person could have just been me
yeah.
working there, living their normal life, just having chronic tummy aches all the time. Blaming it on Cuban like bioweapons.
So you may have, so those countries I listed, Cuba, China, and apparently undercover CIA agents working in other countries with partner agencies to counter Russian covert operations have also experienced this syndrome. So the working hypothesis of not all, but of some, I guess like some people in the CIA, but also just kind of like this media thing, think that the Russians or someone.
Imagine being stupid enough to believe any of this. Like, first off, from the get-go, I don't give a shit like what the rest of it's to come. Imagine being like, bro, it's only CIA agents affected in Cuba, China, and Russia who get tummy aches. It must be some crazy psyop shit that they're doing.
The Russians have a ray gun that they're firing at people to make them have a tummy ache. There's one case. Hold on. There's one case I want to tell you. Okay, here's an incident recounted by Mark Vandroff, Senior Director for Defense Policy at the National Security Council. Okay, quote. One of the most dramatic episodes involved a U.S. military officer stationed in a country with a large Russian presence. As the officer pulled his car into a busy intersection, he suddenly felt as though his head were going to explode. His 2-year-old son, in a car seat in the back, started screaming. As the officer sped out of the intersection...
I found the fucking problem. He has a 2-year-old.
As the officer sped out of the intersection, the pressure in his head ceased and his son went quiet. A remarkably...
You mean to tell me that a CIA agent who had his 2-year-old kid in the back and just starts screaming, gets a migraine, and then his kid stops screaming and then he feels better?
Yeah,
that's a Russian op right there.
They had a brain fog. They're just like their life were flashing before their... So they find themselves in like fucking Belarus or Turkey or I don't know where the hell they are, Syria, and they just like stare. They're just
New
staring.
York City.
When you're driving and you're like, you weren't really paying attention and you're like, oh shit, I probably should have been paying attention. And suddenly, like in that fog, your child is screaming, there's people beeping at you, and you're like, man, the Russians must have done this to me. The Russians are the reason my life is, how did I get here right now?
This is like the most American shit ever too, because it definitely is the thing of like, you could go get like the bottomless nachos, eat 10 pounds of nachos, have explosive diarrhea at the end of the day and just be like, that was the Russians. Like Russian psyop, gave me explosive diarrhea, not the, 10 pounds of processed cheese that I just ate.
I was trying to hide from my wife that I went to like a party and I'm like, no, I didn't. I'm not hungover. I have Havana syndrome. The Russians did it. So the reason we are talking about it is because there is a new, quote, Havana syndrome hotspot. And that place is a little city called Vienna, Austria.
That's awesome.
The Havana syndrome has arrived in Europe. It has gone. It is the Vienna variant of the Havana syndrome has now claimed 24 possible new cases by U.S. spies and diplomats in the Austrian capital.
That's amazing. What did they eat too much like Zashatorta and they just got a bellyache? Like what? Like, oh,
this
damn.
is like so. This is like one of the funniest. One of the funniest like assumptions or pretensions of like the alt-right is like, oh, the CIA is too woke and it's like, they can't do their job protecting us because they're too woke. And it's like, no, that's just like a branding opportunity for them.
They all
to do
just
the
suffer
same
from
things.
IBS and they can't do their job.
But this is the one thing where I'm like, maybe they all just convince themselves they have strange diseases. I'm sure it's a lot of pressure to be a U.S. spy, and I'm sure you have a lot of internal pain and agony. And this has manifested itself in...
No, they just had a stint of hiring
tummy.
only hypochondriacs to work for them.
It certainly has been an epidemic of hypochondriacs, though.
I just love the idea, though, that then like tummy aches are the thing that then is like the thing that's plaguing the CIA the most currently. Like, it's kind of nice in a funny way. Like, there is something horribly discomforting of, chronic stomach pains, which I'm glad that then every member of the CIA has that. Whether it be from their own choices or if the Russians did in fact make the tummy ache gun is cool nonetheless. I want these garbage people to suffer with something that does suck.
That's how they killed the Hugo Chavez. They fired the tummy ache gun
They
at
give
him
Hugo
until he dropped
Chavez
dead.
the tummy ache gun. Exactly.
And it's actually very similar to the lab leak conspiracy where the tummy ache gun fell off the shelf and burst open. And now it's just in the air, filtering through various CIA
I caught
undercover
it
spots.
then. Yeah, this is I have a secret to unveil to the show. I am actually a CIA op. That is why I have a stomach ache all the time.
You thought
It's not
you
from
could
my
hide
poor
from
eating
us.
habits and the amount of alcohol that I drink. No. It is the Russians.
I want to come back to Vienna as a den of spies, but I want to share a couple the debate at the high levels of U.S. government about this. So we got Mike Pompeo testifying to Congress about how big of a problem this is, and that the symptoms in China were very similar and entirely consistent with those reported in Cuba. The New York Times and all these news agencies have been on the story. The 10 U.S. senators proposed a bill that would close a loophole in the Federal Employees Compensation Act, which would normally not cover damage to organs such as the brain and heart. So they passed the Helping American Victims Afflicted by Neurological Attacks, that's Havana Act, which authorizes the CIA director and the Secretary
America
of State to
loves
provide...
that shit.
They really do. That's like the one thing, like the senator, I imagine a senator who like doesn't read the news or anything. He's just like, yeah, I just come up with the yeah, I'm the senator from Tennessee. I come up with the cool acronyms.
Yeah.
To provide financial
sir,
support.
Do you want to vote for the Pussy Act?
That's how he trolls his. He makes him sign the act. It's like, oh, that was the gay act. Oh. It's like, sir, the Sunrise Movement is
the gay act.
The Sunrise Movement and is camping outside your office to get you to do something about the climate. And it's like, send in the security officers. I can't be bothered. I'm coming up with acronym puns. So yes, the CIA director and the Secretary of State are now authorized to provide financial support for personnel suffering brain injuries. The bipartisan bill unanimously passed the Senate in June 2021. So the U.S. government is taking care of the tummy ache problem.
That's beautiful.
On the other hand, I don't know if you remember Gina Haspel.
Of course.
Trump CIA director. Apparently,
the literal slay queen CIA director. Yeah.
Well, maybe, I don't know how you'll take this news. Apparently, she was described as, quote, skeptical that the syndrome was real. So
once in my life, I respect her. Game recognized game that the tummy ache syndrome might not be real.
She's pissed that all of her employees are calling out sick because of their tummy aches, and she wants them to get in there and get to work. She knows torture, okay? This is nothing.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, she helped write the fucking book, and now she's like, "Come on, I know, fake shit when I see it." But
so
I love the sense that the U.S. is definitely in its it's failing as an empire currently. We see it in every aspect of life here that I've only that I'm reaccustoming myself to currently. The idea that the tummy ache gun is the thing that's preventing people from doing their job is like, I'm sorry, you have to be stupid to believe that. You have to genuinely be a dumb person to believe any of that. Like that is come on, CIA, you know what? I hate you in the organization, like in your organization, what you've done, but you had some hits,
Mm-hmm.
Chile, the rest of South America, Indonesia, Greece, Portugal, you had a good run of it. Maybe it's time to call it quits. This is kind of like when Kiss goes on tour and they still try to do their whole fucking thing. No one wants to see that. So,
do you think the Russian government or any other state has developed any kind of ray guns of any kind? to attack.
They exist. Yeah,
people.
there's the one that then makes you feel like you're on fire.
Oh, yeah, true.
Which the U.S. invented.
But can they like so fundamental to this is that like they can like whether it's like a sniper on a rooftop can just like hit you from like whatever half a kilometer away with a tummy ache gun, which I imagine the fire gun scene, you like have to be like, you know, in front of you like in the room.
Yeah, I want the scene from American Sniper where he takes his like 1 mile long shot, but it's
He's the only one. The Russian Bradley Cooper. He's like he was the best at firing the tummy ache gun. He could hit a CIA official in a beer garden from clear across the city.
Yeah, exactly. Just like pulls the trigger. There's like bowels release.
Just shitting immediately on the spot. Just flushes out. I don't know about like, the
does
Vienna,
something like that exist? Does like the gun that can make you shit your pants exist? Yeah, probably. I don't know.
Yeah. But
the fact that the U.S. is like literally being like, oh, our agents have stomach aches all the time. Mm-hmm. Must be the Cubans.
Yeah.
Like, come on, that's just fucking pathetic.
It would be cool if they had an LSD gun, because we know the CIA is like has experimented with LSD in the past, but like to just like kind of like fire it in a. I mean, a lot of the microdoses don't they do like a spray? It's like you just kind of like do a couple sprays. That's
you could obviously put that spray at the end of an armor piercing round.
Yeah, yeah, and then people just feel euphoric. Hallucinate
for the literal split second before it just like explodes their head.
I don't know if you have any thoughts on the Vienna aspect of this. Apparently, long time.
I just think literally, I just think that they're all just getting really drunk.
Yeah, I think they're
having a great time. Fun. And then they're all like, "Oh yeah, like exactly." Like they're like, "Oh, sorry, officer, I have to call in sick from work because the Russians gave me a stomach ache last night at the beer garden."
I was,
it's obvious that they're all just alcoholics.
Yeah, I'm sure. Well, I wanted to bring that up on the show. We will be keeping tabs on this phenomenon.
I will go and investigate at all the bars and clubs in Austria and get down to the bottom of this.
Well, maybe it's coming to Berlin, or it's coming to.
Oh, maybe.
I don't know if there's any spies in Berlin. I assume so.
There's a shit ton, yeah, of course.
What? Who? Like that North Korean hostel was? Were they firing?
There was that one that then like those Russian spies apparently murdered that Georgian dissident guy or whatever.
Yeah, true. In Tiergarten.
Yeah,
they hit him with the tummy ache gun in Tiergarten.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing they didn't tell you.
Yeah, that's the thing. If you're walking through Tiergarten, like at the wrong time, the vagabonds will
360
will hold you up. They'll hold you up. They'll put the tummy ache gun to your head and demand all of your I don't know, money, your phone. I always thought techno clubs would be a cool place to like for spies to they're trying to like each like I don't know hit each other with a tummy ache gun.
That literally is what was that? Well, there was that really stupid Netflix show Berlin Station where he like does that.
Oh yeah, they stole my extremely unique idea.
Yeah, he tries to like be a spy up in the club. In the club, being a spy
in the club.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sorry, Rob. Netflix already beat you to it.
It's okay. I'm going to be I was actually hired for season 4. I'm going to be the guy with the tummy ache gun who's hiding out in the club. I wait in the bathroom and just hit people underneath the stalls with the tummy ache gun.
Yeah. It's going to be like that scene from Attack of the Clones where they're like chasing down Zam Wessel, like after Padme gets like attempts to be poisoned. And then they like are about to interrogate her, and then Jango Fett shoots her with the poison dart.
Damn it!
Exactly. Yeah. They just die of like irritable bowel syndrome.
No. Yeah. I shit my pants, and they're like, I'm sorry, I have to go change. You can't interrogate me right now.
It smells too bad. Yeah, I love how I shoehorned a Star Wars reference into this.
Yeah, nice. I feel like we've referenced that scene before.
I don't know. Maybe we have. I feel that's like that seems such a ridiculous moment of the 2000s.
Yeah, one of the most memorable scenes of the movie of the Attack of the Clones, for sure.
Yeah. That's the very beginning. Yeah.
But well, it's like anyway, they got the whole build up, and it's like, my Annie, how you've grown, and it's like growing more beautiful. You have talk like this. I do. Hang out with Yoda. I've been. She's like, the romance ends there. She's like, I don't like that. I don't. Can you stop that? He's study abroad in Budapest.
I mean, like, maybe. I mean, Anakin
defend Western civilization. I must.
Anakin literally says "milady" the entire time throughout that episode.
Saving Europe, Victor Orban is.
I feel that the bar is set quite low of what she would say no to.
Obi-Wan is like the Angela Merkel, the EPP, trying to keep the like Orban in line. But it's just too enticing, the true European values.
Exactly. But anyway, we hope that you guys stay healthy and stay out of the reach of the tummy ache gun.
Yep.
And we will catch you guys all then next week, or for the bonus if you're one of the cool cats who pays for the Patreon.
Yes, hopefully there's stream this week. Kieran had to cancel last week, but tune in. Kieran has fast internet. It won't be freezing all the time. Come get it.
Maybe it will
hot.
for just like for old time's sake. But yeah, we'll see you guys then. Either
if it freezes, it will just be a bit.
Exactly. Yeah. But anyway, we'll see you all on Wednesday, Friday, or next Monday. Take care.
Peace.